Luke's son says, grasslands are the belly hair of our ecosystems, you know? It really is. There's some truth to that. All right, we're out here at a local park today, and it is 92 degrees outside right now. We're gonna take some temperatures in some different environments, some mowed areas, some non-mowed areas, some wetlands. We'll go to some prairies here later and some savannas as well. Here in a wetland, you see all this rose mallow behind us. This is swamp rose mallow. There's also some Halbert's leaf rose mallow out here as well, and a lot of cattails. And then you see this stuff behind it. This right here, this is giant cut grass, and also known as southeastern wild rice. And this stuff is everywhere out here. It's called cut grass because these stems are super sharp. I mean, I can't even run my fingers against them, it'll cut me. So I'm gonna get out of here. But we're gonna, actually first, we're gonna take some soil temps in here. We're just measuring the surface of the soil to see the temperature of it. And I'm trying not to get cut. "95, and it's 92 out here right now. Let's measure right here in the sun where there's a lot of sunlight getting. There's basically, this is scalped turf grass. We got Bermuda and stuff right here. There's no way. There's no way that's accurate. It says 140. We're gonna use Luke as a test. It's saying Luke is 99. His gut 97.
Come on.
And I don't know, let's like check the bottom of my shoes. 104.
Try it again.
I mean, okay, now it's saying 118, 113, 110. Now the sun's behind the clouds though, so I wonder if that has anything to do with it. 120, 118. Either way, it's safe to say that that's like 25 degrees warmer out here than inside of this little swamp area. So there's your difference. This is in full sun, this is in full sun. You get a 25 degree difference just by having some herbaceous vegetation on the ground. By the way, this is the heat index on our kestrel. Average is 99 today, max 106. And heat index is just the air temperature, you know, mixed with humidity to calculate what it feels like to the human body. So it definitely feels like 99 out here right now. Oh, let's measure this. Yeah, 120. It's about the same as that bare area down there. So this is a place called Earth Park here in Hartselle, and it's covered in that giant southeastern wild rye. So that's actually a county record for Morgan County. It's never been documented here before. It's only documented in, I think, a few counties in the state. So that's a really good find out here. It's mixed in with a lot of cattails, but that seems like a high quality plant for wildlife, especially birds. And they do make like a little rice, but the seed is very small compared to the typical rice that you're used to seeing. But that rose mallow is really nice. So here's the swamp rose mallow bloom, and this is a very poor quality one. Look, five huge petals. That magenta color in there. And here's the seeds. We should be seed collecting here, Luke. Look at all the seeds on those. So that's one seed head. I'm gonna take one seed head here. Look at all those seeds. It's just like okra. So this is hibiscus, very similar to okra. Same flower as okra. Look at all those seeds. This would be a great place to seed collect and introduce these seeds to some other places. So that just probably showed up here naturally. That was not planted. That's just, all these species out here are natural. This needs to go. This huge wad of Nandina. Hopefully here in the future we'll be able to help out with some management here at this little park, because Hartselle doesn't have much green space. This is, I mean, Sparkman Park's completely mowed, and this is probably the only park that has some grown up stuff with some natural plants. So hopefully we can come in and later on and maybe remove some of this non-native landscaping and replace it with native. I think that would be pretty cool. All right, we're gonna take temperature in the shade. We're talking shady mowed area, 94, 95, yeah, 95. So, so it seems the shade, the shady tree areas and the shady swamp areas, the surface of the soil seems to be about the same. So 91.2 degrees Fahrenheit, where I'm standing right here.
Have to open it up, or?
No, this is a kestrel. If you open it up, you get wind speeds, but the temperature is measured by that little bulb there. 90.7. Watch this. Yeah, see, it went up to like 92. It's still climbing. So I think it was at 90.4 or something like that. Remember that. That's the shady tree area. So here's some planted cypress trees, which is pretty nice. This is pretty nice that our downtown area has a bad problem with flooding. And having these wetlands here, I think will help mitigate that some. And these cypress in here should be helping mitigate that some. But I think there's some other things that we could do in downtown to help mitigate some of that flooding. And we may talk about that in this video or a later video. I'm not sure yet, but there's definitely some improvements that could be made here. $110, $109, $111, $107. It varies. Upper 110s, or I guess right around 110, a little less. So that's been pretty consistent with our mowed grass areas. Now we're going to drive to a spot that has some tall native grasses and just compare that. So we'll remember those numbers. Maybe we can add those into the video later on, just like shady areas versus mowed areas versus swampy areas. We'll go check some shady grassland areas. If we can find a savanna that has some tree shade and some native grasses, then theoretically that should be the coolest spot we can find. So we're going to test that. This is cutleaf coneflower back here in this ditch. First time I've ever seen it in Morgan County, and it's here growing in the middle of downtown Hartselle in the ditch, next to some cutleaf or some giant cut grass, some southeastern wild rice. Look at it blowing in the wind. But we also, I can see some potato bean out there, or not a potato bean, American ground nut. I guess it's the same thing. American ground nut, some barnyard grass. But that yellow flower, that cutleaf coneflower, very, very high quality, and I don't see that a lot in Morgan County for some reason. It's a common species. I just don't see it around here a lot. So that's the first time I've ever seen it in Morgan County. So pretty cool. We're gonna see what this we're gonna see the temperature. We're gonna check the temperature, if I can get the words out, of this black metal bridge right here. So it's saying 129. It's almost 130, which is crazy. One more for good measures. 95, 94. We are in an open grassland, sun beating down on the soil, no shade, and we're only 2 to 3 degrees warmer than the air temperature. I think that's pretty impressive compared to turf grass. 133. This asphalt's 133. Yep, 120, 132.6, 133. Now this is mowed roadside. This should be prairie. This has the same species that has out there, except this gets mowed. All right. 120. This has coreopsis, little blue stem, all the same stuff that has. Only difference, this gets mowed. 122. 122. That's like 27 degrees warmer than not mowed prairie. Mowed prairie, 27 degrees warmer than not mowed prairie. It doesn't take a scientist to understand the difference there. That's what happens when we mow places. This, under any other circumstance, this place would have been mowed 3 or 4 times already this year. It's got mowed 0 times, and so during the heat of the summer, it's doing its job and it's insulating the earth. This could solve so many issues. I know this isn't a plant video, but we can't not talk about plants. Look at all this Illinois bundleflower right here. I have no mow, no spray signs up, and so they only mow one width of the roadside here. They leave the rest alone. Used to, this would get mowed. Now, I have it to where the county isn't mowing it, and look at it. Thousands of Illinois bundleflower plants. If you get underneath this Illinois bundleflower, 87 degrees. 86 degrees. Well, it was getting even colder. That is 5 to 6 degrees cooler than the air temperature. And then look at this. Look at this mountain mint. Look at that. Beautiful. White leaf mountain mint. Look at that. This is one that I saw up at Mount Cuba in, what is that? It starts with a D, that state, Delaware. And they had dozens of these out there. Each one of them looked different, same species. They took them from different areas. And they're seeing which physiographic region, like local ecotype, white leaf mountain mint, acted different, or like was the best for pollinators, or was the best for the landscaping. And out of all those dozen, I've seen this so many times in the wild here in Alabama. I said, that one's the Alabama one. Went up to it, the tag, Alabama mountain mint. That was a brag. I don't know if you know what that gets me as far as brownie points. I do feel like a cooler person because I have that skill and ability to it's like being able to recognize your own child in the crowd. You know, if you just saw your child's hair, that's what I did for this mountain mint, you know. You can locate your child based off of their ear shape, you know. I did that for mountain mints. 86.7 degrees, you know, once again, 5 to 6 degrees cooler than the actual air temperature right now. Where this mower's rosinweed is growing. I'm telling you, natives insulate the earth. They do so much. They do way more for our earth than you could ever imagine. Oh, all right, here's some mower's rosinweed. One more time. I just want to make it clear. I was able to identify that mountain mint out of dozens of them. I was able to identify the Alabama type, which, you know, not saying I'm better than you. Pretty cool though. Anyways, mower's rosinweed S1 in Alabama. This is the one. We have a large population of it growing at the Flint Creek prairie. This is the Scott Savanna. At the Flint Creek prairie, there's hundreds of these. That's the largest known population on public land. And I think you should message the state and say thank y'all for allowing that prairie to be at the boat ramps. This is beautiful. One of my favorite rosin weeds, and you can see tons of it here. I saw this in a garden in Mountain Brook. Really beautiful home. Really, I mean, way better than my home. Looked beautiful. They had this in their landscape and a huge field of it, and it was beautiful. So we're out here in my prairie now, behind the house. Oh man, I just saw something I'm pretty excited about that I did not put there. Anyways, that's how you learn plants, guys. You get distracted because I was saying something and then I noticed something else. But this is gama grass that I planted. Look how big this thing is, huge. And it's laid over, creating tons of shade for wildlife to get up underneath. But look at this is what I just spotted. Look at that sabbatia, that rose pink right there. This just came up naturally out here. That's an annual. That was not planted by me out here. That just came up by itself from me burning this every so often. But look at all this gama grass. So it's a little later in the day. We're at 93.4 degrees right now. So we should expect everything to be 2 degrees hotter than it was a minute ago in the video. I have some of this daggum carpet grass I need to get rid of out here. This is related to Japanese stilt grass. I got to get that treated and taken care of. There's some hollow Joe Pye weed coming up. Yeah, see this carpet grass, how bad it's getting right here? That's something I'm going to need to deal with a grass selective herbicide, most likely. Oh, look at that. That phlox growing there. That's pretty good sign. All right. So let's get down here in the shady savanna part of the grassland. So right here in the shade on bare dirt, we got 90 degrees. That's our lowest temp so far, right? Mm-hmm. It's hotter out there than it was earlier. We're already at our lowest temp, 90 degrees, 90.6. Oh, this is a mushroom food plot I installed a few weeks back with a bunch of straw and wood chips next to this rotted log, and then I spread a bunch of mushroom, this bale of mushroom that Alan got from a guy who's trying to make mushroom food plots for deer, which is pretty crazy. But 100 degrees, which is, you know, that mulch is probably holding heat. Oh, look at all this dog thing. That vine, that's dog bane. I think it's dog bane, dog hemp. I had this tree fall down last year and it has absolutely taken over those pine trees. That was a county record Brian Keener found when he came down here to check out our fen. I'm pretty sure it's dog bane. Here's a shout out to iNaturalist. Let's get over here in the shade. We're gonna use iNaturalist to verify this name that is in my head. It's something dog. Take a good picture of the leaves. Here you go. Look at that, just a good picture of the leaves. Flowers work even better. Climbing dogbane. I was right. So, climbing dogbane. Information. Climbing dogbane is a species of flowering plant in the dogbane family. It is locally common deciduous low-growing woody vine native to the southeastern U.S. Yeah, look at the range of this. Interesting. Watch this though. See that milky sap coming out? Like milk vines, milkweed, and this dogbane makes milky sap too. Anyways, we got distracted. Temperatures. Let's get out here in the shade, in all this little grassland prairie. We got a lot of native grasses, forbs. Climbing dogbane out here. 87.4. 87.4. What was that? A minute ago down there, what was our temperature in the grass? 110?
Yeah.
In a mowed lawn.
Yep.
So we're talking mowed lawn. As we pulled up to my property, Luke, who's holding the camera right now, was like, dude, your place is looking a mess right now. And I was like, yeah, it kind of is. I only mow the areas that I need, that I actually use around my barn, and I leave a lot of unmowed areas because of this. Because this is the insulation. This is insulating the earth. So because the soil, the surface of this soil is cooler, it's gonna hold more moisture. It's not gonna dry out as fast, and it's gonna make the temperature around my home cooler. When I come down here in the evenings, when I come out of the mowed portion into this, you can feel a drop in air temperature when you come into this. when you come into this area, this meadow, the air temperature immediately drops. And that's because there's more soil moisture here. The soil, the surface of the soil is staying cooler throughout the day instead of just sitting there baking and baking. And you know, obviously a parking lot is gonna be way worse than turf grass. You know, you got a parking lot, you got turf grass, you got grown up pastures, prairies, meadows. Then you have shaded forest, but then you have shaded grasslands, which is what we're in right now. You know, you have the canopy of the trees and you have the canopy of these herbaceous plants shading out the soil, and that's how you get cool temperatures. And that's why I think savannas are the peak ecosystem for the Southeast. Let's go check some other areas. Not biased, I just measured in there. So I'm not gonna be, I just measured the soil temp in there. What was it, Luke, 87?
Yeah.
This is outside, this is 10 foot away in the mowed area, 92. So we have a 5-degree difference from mowed to non-mowed down here with the shade of these trees. So just by having grasses and forbs, that soil temperature is 5 degrees cooler. Now think about that across a large landscape. You know, you got lawns. We'll go measure my lawn up here, the area that I mow around my barn, and we'll see what the soil temp is of it here in a minute. Or actually, we can go do it up here next to my pond where I mow strips around my pond. We'll see what the temperature is there. I haven't mowed down here. I haven't mowed down here in a while. We're gonna run up to the barn where I have mowed and just test the mowed grass spots. We can check this bare soil spot right here. 114. So that's bare soil compared to down here in a savanna where it was 87. 87 to 114. That is what? 27 degrees. Is that right? Is that right? 27 degrees. My mom was a math teacher. I should know this. 27 degrees. That's a lot. That's a big difference from bare soil to savanna ecosystem. So, I mean, this development down the road that's nothing but bare soil right now. I guarantee you it's hotter than 114 out there at the moment. I bet it's closer to 120. And so that's what happens as we change the landscape. You know, there's so many environmental issues that get blamed on so many things. I think habitat destruction is the root of it all. If we can take care of our wild places and keep places wild, I think all that other stuff will work itself out. What hurts us is when we change land uses from being wild to developed, and then we start having all these issues. And so if you want it to be cooler around your house, plant some meadows. You don't have to, your entire property doesn't have to be lawn. Here's some narrow leaf sunflower we got growing out here. Bushy blue stems growing all out in this. I usually mow my fire breaks around this entire meadow, but I haven't this year. And I need to weed eat some of these weeds, but you can do that in the fall. All right, soil, mowed turf grass. We got 108, 129. That can't be right. 109. 113. 115. And that's in a mowed yard. So there's another 115. So that's pretty different from savanna. The gravel, 140. 140. 142. Now that's a big difference. So those are the things that people don't think about when they're developing land or their property, is what you do with your property makes a big difference about how hot your property is. And it being everything concrete and turf grass, it's gonna be a lot hotter than if you let some stuff grow up and let it look messy in some spots. Much rather have a cooler property with fireflies everywhere and an ecosystem than having a scalding hot property all the time, because I'm gonna be sweating either way. We're over here. This is a huge hybrid oak that I've got. Not sure what. If any of y'all want to take some guesses, it's like a water oak mixed with some other red oak species. These are the leaves, very strange looking. The bark looks like a water oak or a willow oak. Anyways, that's off subject. It shades the ground right here. I've got a lot of sedges. I just mowed a trail right here last week to my goat pen because my neighbors were feeding my goats and my chickens. But most of the time, I let this grow up. Look at this. Don't look at my barn. We got cardinal flower right here growing. Tons of sedges. Don't look at the Japanese stilt grass. I try to mow that down. That's the only way you're getting rid of that crap is spraying and spraying and spraying. And so I try to mow it when I can before it goes to seed. But other than that, this all over here, it's mostly sedges. You got Cherokee sedge. This is Cherokee sedge right here. But let's check the soil temp in here. 88, 87, 87, 86. It's getting here in the shade. 83, 83.6. You get up here out of the weeds, we're at 90. So 90, 91. That is, what was it? I was lowest was 83 over here, 83, 86 to 90 to 91. We're talking anywhere from 5 to 8 degrees temperature difference from mowed to non-mowed in a shady area, which to me speaks volumes. Look, we're gonna even stay in the ditch right here. Mowed ditch. 94, 93. Same ditch right here behind Luke. Look at this. So let's remember 94, 81.5, 82, 84, 90 in the sun. Up here in the weeds, 85, in the weeds, 83, 10 degrees cooler, 10 degrees cooler. I mean, this isn't science. I'm not doing this like as a scientific experiment. This is Alabama science. I mean, but to me, the results speak for themselves. If you mow, your property is going to be at the very least 10 degrees warmer. I mean, we're talking, how hot was it out there?
The gravel's 140.
Gravel's 140. The grass is what, 115? Yeah. 118?
On the hottest side, yeah.
And right here we're 83. What is that? 32 degrees difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
32 degrees. So plant some meadows on your properties, y'all. You don't have to mow everything. Yeah, you're gonna be fighting with your wife and your relatives. Your friends are gonna say you're letting the place go.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
No, but it's different.
But we're talking.
You can feel it though. When you walk out in your pasture, you can feel it.
You can feel the difference. And I know I'd rather have a cooler property, cool in several ways.
Yeah.
You know, biodiversity is cool. Temperature being cool is also cool.
I bet they would like some.
Yeah, look at them goats, and they're loving the shade over here. I'm sure they're hugged up against the fence trying to get some of this cool air, you know, on them. But just something to think about, y'all. If you're a property owner, think about that. What you do to your property is going to dictate how hot your property is. You have control of that as a landowner. You have control on how biodiverse your property is. You have control of the temperature of your property. by the way you manage vegetation. Managing vegetation allows you to do so many things. And that's why I have a whole channel based around it. Managing for native habitat is the answer, y'all. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna go lay down in some shady grass.